Welcome to Your Cochrane Right Now. This is a weekly podcast all about the greatest town in the world, Cochrane, Alberta. My name's Eric Ruddle, joined by Lauren Meister. And Lauren, it's summertime here in Cochrane. We are under heat warnings this week here in town, but there's a lot of fun stuff going on, including my area, Sunset Ridge, littered with lemonade stands.
Yeah.
Like, these kids are out there, they are grinding, and they are making money.
Do you have any kids in your neighborhood with like the really cute decorated lemonade stands where like I've seen some really fancy ones where like people have what do they call it? Like the pallets and stuff,
Nice.
and then like string lights, and like they're decorated to the nines, like something you'd see on Pinterest.
I'll be honest, I have to sadly treat all of these as like, you know, when you're walking down the mall and they're like, excuse me, sir, would you like to try this fragrance? And you can't make eye contact. That is pretty much what I have to. I don't carry cash.
Yeah.
So these poor kids, I was riding by one the other day and they're like, lemonade, sorry. I was like, I don't have money. I don't have money. They need like a debit machine.
I know.
They probably make a lot of money.
They would make way more money because especially when you're just out for a walk or something or riding, you know, in the neighborhood, like who carries money? You never have cash with you. But it's tricky when you're out with your kids because your kids stop. It's kind of easy for us to keep going.
Gosh, you're like, come on, we don't have money.
But your kids, I was out just yesterday and same thing. My kids were way ahead of me as they always are because I walk and they ride yesterday they were riding, I don't even know, their skateboard and their bike. And my daughter, she went up to a lemonade stand. Well, it was actually iced tea and then it was also scrunchies.
A weekday one.
And it was middle of the week.
Good on
Yeah,
them.
so it was scrunchies, iced tea, and friendship bracelets.
So full farmer's market.
Pretty much. It was everything. And so she wanted all of it.
Yeah.
And we had no money. And I was like, okay, well, you can go
come
home.
back.
Yeah, we can go home. You can raid your piggy bank. All good. And because I was going to pay for the iced tea. No big deal. But I'm like, if you want anything else, you have to pay for it yourself because, you know, I'm not a money bank here. I can't pay for everything. I'm trying to instill those lessons.
Yeah.
But the friendship bracelets, they weren't cheap.
They weren't cheap, like $4?
Like $30.
$30. Good on these young ladies.
Yeah.
They know their products. They're like, we're gonna.
Yeah, I mean, so they did say that they were made of semi-precious stones.
Nice.
So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they are, and maybe that's how much they're worth. I have no idea. I wasn't going to question them. I only talked to them for a second or two. I don't know. But my daughter had it all figured out. She's 6 years old, and she's like, we can grab a 20 and a 10. I have that in my piggy bank. We're good. And I was like, let's talk about it on the walk home.
Yeah.
Let's
the
keep
dollar
moving.
iced teas are one thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I did say to her, I was like, that's a lot of money, like $30 for one bracelet. And the problem is my daughter, like, she loses everything, like everything.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Kids 101.
totally, $30 for a bracelet. Like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
so
I wouldn't be buying myself a $30 bracelet. But good
Right?
on those kids, though.
totally.
Like, right?
Maybe they made some sales. I don't know.
Your daughter would have went back if you didn't stonewall her.
I know. Well, she did go back with a loony.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she got herself an iced tea.
My mom said no. But
know.
it's also the time of, I don't know if you go around town, lots of young people working in town right now. And this is always a fun game because we are on very different sides of the spectrums as far as jobs go. In my life, I can count, I have had 4 jobs.
That's it?
That's it. I have had...
But you're also like 10, as we've discussed, right?
No, I've been working since I was 16. So I've been in the job force for like 17 years. Math is hard. 17, 18 years.
So, were you in high school when you got your first job?
Yes. So I started at Safeway here in Cochrane.
Okay.
Worked there weekends, evenings in high school. Then I went to construction. Let me tell you.
I've heard about that.
Let me tell you. I might not come across as the most construction-y guy, and there's a good reason for that because it was really bad.
Yeah.
And then I managed a pet food store here in Cochrane. Then I went into radio. I've been in radio for 12 years.
That's it.
That's it. That's all.
All you've done in your
Let's
life.
play a fun game of how many jobs. Could you tell me a number?
Oh, I'd have to think about it. I'd have to actually write it out how many jobs
Like
I've had.
Double digits?
Oh, guaranteed. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, double digits is not that many. Over 10 jobs, yeah.
Are you just not very loyal? Are you telling me if we saw your resume right now, is it like
I don't put them all on my resume.
Right? Dairy Queen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
jobs.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I started in high school, like working fast food, that kind of stuff. But then after that, I moved to Jasper.
Nice.
I did that for a summer, worked at a couple different places, like ice cream shop and like a bakery.
These are like summer jobs?
Yeah, summer jobs,
Nice.
kind of flip-flopped. That's kind of the norm, though, when you're a bit more transient. I was transient for a little bit there. And then I went to college for a little bit.
Nice.
But then I traveled, right? Like I traveled for a while. So same thing. I kind of worked for a little bit. I fruit picked, I waitressed. And no, but that's what you do. That's the norm when you are living out of a backpack.
Yeah.
No, it is
true.
because if you're going to be traveling, like I was in Australia, so you can't obviously just have one job. I wanted to travel and see the country. So I did different jobs. So I did that. I've been in radio for quite a few years. And with radio, you were kind of an anomaly that you've
I've only worked at a couple of different stations.
Yeah, a couple different stations. So I've worked at quite a few stations. So and I jumped around different provinces and made my rounds and did all that. So yeah, quite a few. And then even with that, I've had other jobs kind of dispersed throughout that. But you know what? I always makes for good stories.
Exactly.
Though.
No, Lauren's great because she has experience in every single industry, it seems like. So,
hey, you never know when it gives me lots to talk about.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, no, that's great. And growing up here in town, the go-to summer job, they would come the last week of school, Cowway Park. And they give you a color-changing rubber pencil that said, come work for us in the summer.
Oh,
and
that's
let me
cool.
tell you, it was I never worked there, but it was the coolest business card they could possibly give for young students. But it's so awesome seeing all the young people out and about, especially in the outdoor jobs. Lots of beautiful flowers and stuff, and the parks teams are usually consistent of younger people doing their summer gigs.
Yeah.
So, and to cool down, have you been to Jumping Pound? Because I know that's kind of like a Cochrane hidden gem.
It is, yeah. I haven't been in a few years. I took my kids a few years ago to kind of dip their toes in and whatnot.
Nice.
Well, finding a parking spot is kind of half the thing.
Yeah.
What about you? Obviously, you've been there.
Yeah, not this year, but last year we went lots. And I remember right after the flood of 2013, a sandbar it produced a sandbar. So it was like a mini beach. If you've never been to Jumping Pound Creek, it's an offshoot of the river, but it's warmer. Right? It's way shallower.
Yeah.
Your kids can take floaties. They can skip rocks. It is a great thing. And it's not very busy because I think really only Cochranites know
I think
about
a lot
it.
of people, don't know about it or know how to get there. And so we shouldn't be talking about it right now. I don't want people to know about this.
And another thing we're not seeing a whole lot of in town right now is ice cream trucks. There was one up in Sunset, but it was not your traditional. It was like a deckled up white paneled van, but it was fully
and they want kids
covered.
to run towards it.
It was covered and had music. It was really nice. And my wife even went to them and said, like, we appreciate all the effort you're putting in to make this vehicle look really friendly. And they said, yes, no, we got their thing, but they were a Calgary company, actually.
Oh, okay.
So I wonder if there is. Have you seen any ice cream trucks?
Not this year, but in the last couple of years, same thing. It was like a white van. But yes, and they had like ice cream logos and stuff. And I think they even had, they had speakers on the outside and they played music and stuff. Like
this
a
one
traditional.
was playing music.
Okay, so it might have been the same one, but they would come down to my neighborhood. I just haven't maybe caught it yet this year.
Yeah.
But my only thing is every time they would come, it'd always be like inconvenient times. Like we've just had dessert or I don't know, just like a time that it's like,
and then
no.
you hear the noise and you're like, no, kids,
Yes.
you cannot have $40.
Well, exactly. It's like, no, like my kids did something and where it's like, no, we're not having a treat today. Or, you know what I mean?
I'm a monster.
Yeah.
But I learned a fun fact. You know those like shaped character ones, right? Your SpongeBob, your
Yes,
Ninja Turtle ones. They don't have gumball eyes anymore in Canada.
Oh, I didn't. I've never eaten
You've
one.
never eaten one?
They're
They're
no
so
way.
good. And they're disformed. It's so fun.
No.
No?
Have you met me before? I
Do
would
you
never.
like popsicles?
No.
You don't like popsicles?
No, it's too
Do you
sugary.
like freezies?
No.
So an ice cream truck comes. Lauren, you get nothing?
I'd have to be pretty desperate.
Can I get an ice water, please?
Yeah, exactly. I'm very particular
How do you
about
cool
my
down?
ice cream.
It is a heat wave in Cochrane.
I would rather have like real ice cream, like not something packaged. I don't want. I know. I'm
Fresh
too.
from the cow.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I want something from a machine, not from a freezer that's been sitting in a freezer and then a package, and definitely not something with food coloring. Ew. No,
it's good for you. It's in the shape of SpongeBob.
I'm sure. Yeah. And no, and like freezer burnt and yeah.
Well, I'm sure you're going to be able to get a lot good from machine stuff at Food Fest. That's coming up in the next month, the 13th.
Yeah.
It's at Mitford this year, which is a nice change of pace because last year it was just outside the library parking lot. I don't even know what you would call that.
Yeah. But, so this is going to be a nicer environment, like just like a park setting and just like on the grass. It's just going to be a nicer spot to hang out at.
And I remember last year we were walking by, we were there just as a family, and there was a shaved ice booth. And I was like, oh, kids, ice cones. And they're like, no, we are shaved ice. It's very different. And it was incredible. So it's so cool that we can have these kind of events. And last year also was a little COVID-y. So there was some issues there.
Is that a term?
Yes,
COVID-y?
exactly. Yeah. Right. So that's really awesome. And Pride Week is coming up pretty much a month from now, and just newly announced there will be a Pride Parade.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. We've never had a Pride Parade right here in Cochrane before, so this is going to be, a really cool event, and I think that this is going to be an opportunity for a lot of businesses or individuals to take part and just, it's about everyone just kind of showing their individuality.
Exactly. So think less sexuality, more colorful, right? So family-friendly event. Everybody can come, and it's actually free to register. So if you are an individual or your business or whatever, you can just send them an email saying we'll be there. And I believe it's the Wednesday of Pride Week from 1 o'clock on.
And you already have colorful shoes.
Exactly.
That you can bust out. Your green shoes. Yeah, you pulled something there.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Green shoes. So we'll rock some.
You just got to work on the rest of the outfit.
I got yellow pineapples
and you got a colorful bracelet. You're actually pretty good with colors.
Yeah, I'm kind of coloring bookie myself. So I'm not lacking in the color, but that's really cool. And I think a lot of Pride events will be coming out the woodworks, and that is always just a jam-packed week. Yeah. And it's just growing and growing. So that is going to be really cool. Fun. So that's everything going on in town right now. It is August long weekend, so you're probably imagining a lot of people leave Cochrane on the long weekends.
You know, I've really noticed this summer, it's just been less busy in Cochrane because for the first time in 2 years, people can actually go do things again. Like people are actually flying away on airplanes. They're heading out of town, heading out of the country. People are going down to the States.
I know.
We haven't been able to do that in 2 years.
Exactly, right? So it's been really quiet actually on the weekends. Even my wife works in the restaurant industry, and she says it's very different than last year where a lot of people were sticking around town. So everybody's going to have a ton of fun. You're leaving too, so I'm sure I'll find somebody to do this with me, or else you'll get a 20-minute monologue podcast. Anyway, that's everything going on in town right now. You can jump over to your favorite podcast services, including Podcastville, and download this episode and all the episodes, like and share and all that good stuff, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
You betcha.